Okay, this is a quick overview of OneTouch and the interface in the conference room scenario. And so what you're seeing here is you obviously got a picture of me down at the bottom, but you've got this is what our room layout looks like. And on the left-hand side, you see we've got our ad hoc apps. Now, keep in mind, this software is designed to put on a Windows 10 machine in your conference room to kind of turn it into like what used to be like the old codecs, the old video conference systems. It's just this video conference system can connect to any platform in the cloud. So right now you see we have some of the most well-known platforms. We also have streaming and recording built in. I'm actually using the recording tool right now to make this video. And then we also have the browser, so they can get to a browser and access that. And this actually has the Easy Notes application, and that's actually designed when we put this on a clear touch interactive touch screen, which makes all of this stuff, you just touch a button and go. So on this left-hand side, these are for ad hoc or to start an event. I'm going to go ahead and start a Zoom session. And so in Zoom, you'll see your regular menu that you would expect to see. You have a list of your events here. You can just join a session just like you normally would. And so we're not going to do that, but you'll notice this little arrow, this floating device here. What this back does is this gets rid of the application. So just that easy. The other things you have here is we have in the center console, we have our scheduled events. And you can see I have Ring Central meeting, Teams meeting, Google meeting, another Ring Central, a Zoom meeting. So whatever invites are scheduled for this room, it will automatically show up here. And all you have to do to join one of these sessions, I'll go ahead and do the Zoom session early here. And so the only thing you have to do in this step is you do have to hit this open button. And this way you have one little stop before the thing opens. And so you'll see the call is launched and we're good to go. Now, normally I would have Zoom set to open in full screen mode. So you always want to go into general and we want to enter full screen mode automatically when starting. That is something you want to do with Zoom if you're a Zoom user. I'm going to end this meeting, and then my back arrow will get rid of Zoom. And then I do have to close out my browser here. So if you basically, let's go try that again. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that same session. I'm going to hit open, and then my meeting is going to fire up. And you notice now it's gone full screen. If you have a conference room with dual screens, this is great because we can actually do the same thing a Zoom room can do for the cost of a client. So instead of paying $500 a year, obviously you'll get the lower cost. So you can see very easily this is how quickly it can launch. And you also have this little gear that allows you to pull up your camera controller. I'm using my camera right now for this recording, so it's not going to show up. But you can switch between your cameras, you can move the camera around, and you can zoom in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to end our session like we normally would. And then I'm going to close out that browser. So you can see that's very simple to join. This is all about saving that time that you eat up trying to get the call connected. In this scenario, you schedule the room and you can also set these rooms to auto launch. So I'm going to go across these buttons here. Across the bottom here, we have a presentation button. Now the presentation button will either launch a capture from an HDMI that will go full screen, or it will launch what's called Air Server, which will allow you to share up to 4 devices to the front of the room. Your camera controller, which you've already seen, is exactly what it was a minute ago. You hit camera controller and boom, look what launches, your camera controller. So once we've, let's get this out of the way. So I also have a reset room. This is for when you walk into the room and you don't know what they've been doing. You just want a fresh start. You hit reset and it will close out everything that is open on the computer. Okay, so let's real quickly, obviously exit is something else. You can password protect the ability to exit so they cannot get in, people cannot get into Windows. But let's go into settings Here's where we put in our Google information, which is fully compatible with G Suite and Google Workspace. Office 365, which is how I'm logged in right now. We put in our information, then we actually sign in with our username and password. Then we hit save. In our settings, you can see I can turn off Windows key and Alt Tab so we can keep people from accessing Windows in that way. We also can put these meetings on auto start or use an icon view if we're not going to use a calendar. What that will do is it will actually show or put the logo in the center of the screen instead of the calendar. And this way, if you decide you don't want to use the calendar, but you still see the value in having all the apps here that are ad hoc, then that's the calendar or the icon version. Let me go ahead and switch that back. And this time I'm going to select auto launch of calls. And so what this means at the time of the scheduled call, the meeting will just launch, and it'll take a second for the calendar to reload because the server is trying to figure out exactly what it's got to do. So you can see my join button for future meetings is gone. And that's because they're going to start automatically at the time of the meeting. So like that Zoom that we had pop up when we hit the join, that exact same process will happen at the time of the meeting. So your users will have to click that one button to get in, but then they'll be connected to the call. And so this makes it even whole next level of keeping the room simple. They walk in, they may have to hit one button. In some of the apps, you may have a required password. So they may have to enter a password. Obviously, security is a big thing. So let's go back into our settings real quick. And the last thing I want to talk about is going to be well, we can change our logo, but you also can password protect exiting the program, getting into settings, and then you can even do it when the program starts. Changing the logo is super simple. You hit change logo, you go find what logo you want and put it in there. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is our sidebar. So you now have the ability to go adjust the sidebar icons. So if you want to change what's there or if you want to move them around in order, you have the ability to go grab any of the apps that are listed and you can make that the icon that you have there, or you can clear and start over. So it gives you the ability to go in and you can delete them or you can change what they are. Super simple to change the sidebar and customize. So that's it. That's how easy it is with OneTouch. Um, we appreciate you taking a look, and please go to our website at 323link.com. Thanks.